kick this off, as we have to the top right-hand side of the map our blue Protoss player from Cascade. This, my friends, is DnS. Up against the green Protoss to the bottom left-hand side from Wolf's Lair, we have Hellraiser. Alright, so let's kick this off. As we see an assimilator coming down. PvP means we're going to see double gateways to get things going. As we're going to be seeing the single gate coming down on each side of the map. The assimilator is getting set up as well. And Hellraiser just going to be coming forwards here with this probe to pop down another gateway. So a couple of gateways down here in the early stages of game number 1. As Hellraiser gets this underway. Alrighty then. So Hellraiser getting this set up right now and seeing what's going to be happening. Double gates apiece. Cybernetics core on each side of the map. Wish me a smooth cast today with no-shows, says Rude Fly. Thank you so much, dude. It'll be good though. Honestly, today we've got all the players. It should be fine. I'm kind of feeling pretty stress-free yesterday. Compared to yesterday, actually, I feel like on top of the world. You know, if yesterday I was like, I don't even know. Yesterday I was like the lowest of lows. Today I feel like I could be Rotterdam, you know? That's how high I am on life right now. Not that Roddy's high or anything like that, because I know someone will start insinuating things. Just, you know, Roddy's life's a pretty good one. He's always happy. He's a good guy. You know, that's the sort of mood I'm in. I'm in Rotterdam mood today. Happy, laughy, we joke around, we have some fun on the stream. I'm feeling good. I'm also in my just no bullshit resume. So, the first person to ask in chat, if I can watch the game or cast the game and stuff like that, I'm just going to ban them. Like, I'm actually so done. I'm just, boom, I'm going to ban them. I'm just going to be like, cool, that was so much easier than trying to make fun of them and then half the stream getting angry because I'm still not talking about the game. And yeah, so that's the current plan. It's going to be great. Should work well, hopefully, fingers crossed. Hopefully my mind will stay in that space. Anyways, let's see what happens here as we see a couple of adepts on the way out versus a couple of stalkers. Stargate versus Robo. So Hellraiser here with the Robo facility. DnS here with the Stargate as we get set up with Nexus dropping down. With a Robo setup, the Nexus will not drop down as quickly for Hellraiser, and he in fact does throw down a third gateway. Where's that? Oh, that's right there. Sorry, it's right next to the Robo. I'm just so blind. But yeah, just going to see the hallucination from DnS just going to hop up into the main base, and well, it's a similar situation across the map from Hellraiser. He's about to get that hallucinated Phoenix into the main. Of course, with DnS, he sees this as 3 gates and a Robo, so he'll immediately know to be very careful because this is very likely to be a fast warp prism, and then to move across the map and to kind of get very aggressive there right away. So that's what we're seeing at the moment, is this gateway going to finish up as well. So 3 gates in total, and across the map, well, I mean, DnS just starts up extra shield batteries and cancels the Nexus. Makes complete sense because the Warp Prism in 3 gates is obviously very powerful. The Warp Prism gives you a ton of micro potential, and of course with 3 gateways you're going to outnumber the 2 gateways that DnS currently has, as he does have an Oracle though, which will force Warpins back at home, so DnS has a long-term plan in play. The idea of going across the map with the Oracle, using that to force some units to come back home, and then just going from there. Stalkers in the center from Hellraiser are going to pop up the natural ramp and then start to move towards the main base as he actually just recalls home, perhaps afraid of the Oracle timing. Oh, because 2 adepts get into the main. Okay, well, actually I didn't notice those on the minimap. Obviously Hellraiser did when the probe started going down. This is 6 workers killed with 1 adept going down, the other getting out alive. That's really nice. Now DnS does know that he forced those units to recall, which is already a win for him. Just means the Oracle has to stay back a little bit, and actually will probably come in as 2 Oracles at the same time, which is better anyways because that shield battery was going to protect already. We do see the Warp Prism doing its job, lifting up units. Nice attempt of a force field there by DnS, but the Warp Prism again lifting up. The shield batteries here from DnS starting to lose some energy. The first one at least. There's 2 more still full of energy, however. As that sentry needs to be careful where it goes, as DnS will lose the gateway. Hellraiser is still chilling out on the low ground. Here come the Oracles, but there is Stalkers left at home, but they get 5 more workers, so Hellraiser is down to 16 probes at this point, and DnS just had such a... well, I mean, he had the full scout. It's not even a read. He had a full scout on what was going on, and because of that, he's already looked very good here. As you see a warp gate going down, and, well, the rest of these units from DnS are just going to be able to hold this high ground, I think. Ooh, nice force field there to block some units in. Of course, it's not as important with the warp prism, but he still gets a couple of kills from it across the map. The Oracles are still here. 5 more kills again. And this is what, like, almost, I think, 16 workers that have been killed this game now. 17 in total. DnS has done a great job. He's only lost 2 Adepts and a Stalker, by the way. Wow, look at that. Resources lost is absolutely crazy. 2 Adepts and a Stalker lost to 17 probes and 3 Stalkers. GG's. Going into game number 2. Starting to the top left-hand side, our red Protoss player, guys, from Cascade is DnS. And to the bottom right-hand side, our green Protoss from Wolf's Lair is Hellraiser. Again, so good to have you here. This is the WardiTV Christmas Invitational. I'll do a little bit more of a proper introduction. Hello, hi, how you guys doing? If you're new to my stream, you don't know who I am, if you're just a big MCAN fan, I'm Wardy. I cast StarCraft 2. And I do run a lot of tournaments, so this is one of my tournaments that we're running today. And hi, it's great to have you with me. If you've got any questions or anything, feel free to pipe up. And I hope you have a good time. Thanks for dropping by. 2 gateways opening up on each side of the map again. So DnS, again, with that Stalker Sentry opening last game, just gave him so much information that he was able to instantly figure out what was going on. There was just no denial of that hallucination, or attempt to deny. And so that was obviously a little bit of an issue right then and there, as you do see those 2 gates coming up, the cybernetics core dropping down as well, as we get this underway. Alright. Pro pops in from DnS, has a little bit of a scout around here, seeing what's going on. Cybercore is coming up on each side of the map as well, so again, early game PvP, not too much to talk about. How come no Koreans were invited to the Invitational? Just because it's a European server event. I mean, I have to make a decision. I always make a decision as to what sort of event we're going to run, and I just decided, because of the fact that we couldn't really do many groups in the Korean time zone because there's other events on, we just made this one a European event. Basically, when I looked at my stream schedule, this is what I always do for events, in case you're ever interested about how me deciding events and stuff like that goes. I look at my stream schedule, and I look at days that I don't have anything on. Then I look at, you know, what other stuff is on those days, for example. And so, for example, when I was organizing this event, it was very difficult to run any qualifiers for it, for Korean server times, because Alimo League and the Africa TV Team League was on. And the same for the groups this week. Like, it's very hard to run any groups this week for Korea because the Africa TV Team League's on, the Lima League's on, and the 2018 has left the game Korean server stuff was on as well. That combined with Kung Fu Cup, and basically every day in the Korean time zone is just taken. So it's really, more than anything else, just a case of there wasn't really much of a chance to run stuff in the Korean time zone. This was like the only day which kind of worked for the Korean time zone, so then even the playoffs wouldn't have really worked out that well. For example, we're doing the playoffs on Thursday, which is actually after Kung Fu Cup, so we would have had to have a completely different day. So obviously, most of the time the players don't really want to play at like 5 AM in the morning, so they're not going to play in European time zone events, right? Also, it helps sometimes some players don't want to play on the NA server for Europe, so we just dedicated this one to Europe. It just made scheduling easier, that's all. So, nothing malicious. We love Koreans. I mean, honestly, I try and alternate from a European event to Korean event, and sometimes we do a cross and we run on the NA server. It really just depends on what sort of times we have available and what sort of works. That's what I do in StarCraft. You know, that's my role. I look at when there isn't StarCraft, and I make StarCraft happen at that time. That's generally what I do. You know, I never say, hey, you know what, Home Story Cup's this weekend, let's do the WardiTV Championship. Obviously, that's a bit extreme, but it is very true. Like, I never look and say, oh, you know, Base Rate TV are doing the Ting Open on Tuesday, for example. Let's run something on Tuesday over Base. It just makes no sense for me, for them, for anybody. So what I instead say is, hey, Base Rate TV are running, you know, a Castle Lima League on Tuesday afternoon. I'll do something on Tuesday evening. That's always what I try and do. Always just spread the StarCraft around. Basically just keep StarCraft action going as much as possible. Obviously sometimes it doesn't work out, sometimes we have to overlap, but for the most part we try and avoid things. Korean players are just super busy at the moment. Because of the Africa Team League, it takes up about 16 of the Koreans, keeping them super busy. Let's just hold on a moment, because we do see a couple oracles coming in. That's 4, 5 workers combined with the adepts. It's again nice damage done by DnS. Obviously Hellraiser set up this game a little bit different. He went into a very fast Forge and a Twilight, so I imagine this might be like a very fast +2 in like Templar Archives and just go like, almost like, okay, he's gonna go Blink. I was gonna say maybe like charge Archon just straight up. It could still be that after Blink as well. I guess we shall see as these Stalkers move across the map. Just to very quickly finish up my my forts, what I was saying is that it's 4 more pros go down. That's really nice. But basically, yeah, it's really tough for Korea at the moment because they have a Lima League on Tuesdays, Kung Fu Cup on Thursdays, and then they have Africa Team League on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So it just isn't a time where we can realistically run Korean content at the moment. Which is okay. That's the way of the world, you know? It happens. Alright, well, here we go. Stalkers pressing forwards. Couple of force fields here, and one of those Stalkers getting caught in. Obviously, no Blink just yet. It's actually going to be able to run off to the side for a moment. Some counter force fields from Hellraiser. The first shield battery is... Oh, that's not a shield battery. That's another pylon. Huh. Interesting. I think both the shield batteries are here, and they got cancelled. And Hellraiser will just back away, though. 2 Immortals is just a little bit too much, especially when you don't have Zealots or anything to tank. Obviously, there's no warping potential here from Hellraiser either, so he just has to pull back. There's no other real option for him at this stage. You see the Oracles diving back in. They don't quite get any probes there. It's just a little bit of a misfire. It's really dangerous now because those Oracles are so low on hit points. You do not want to go in there for too long, because it's nice to keep the Oracles alive, so you're really looking to go in, grab 1 probe, and get out at this page, or maybe 2. Hallucinated Phoenix is going to be seeing DnS trying to make use of the fact his Resonating Glaive's just finished up, so he is going to get aggressive. DnS also added on an extra set of gates already, so he's on 6 gateways, about to be 7 with this attack. Now, of course, Hellraiser's going to have Blink. He's got +1 already and +2 well on the way. So those are the sort of things Hellraiser is somewhat going to be reliant on here. Let's see if it works out, as we do see those Stalkers getting some damage done already. Adepts are going to shade forwards. Archon morphing in, and a shield battery coming up at the front as well. Couple more Stalkers warping in right now. And here we go, that Archon. Going to be pretty vital in this. Here come the extra Adepts. I kind of like it for Hellraiser. He's got a couple shield batteries, another one coming up. The Adepts against Stalkers in particular don't really do that much. The first force field dropped down there, didn't really do anything at all. Next force field, well, I mean, these Adepts just have to commit on to this, right? Ooh, does kill a Archon. The Mortals are just going in on a cannon here to the side. We'll get rid of the cannon. That's something that's just been a bit of a nuisance. Again, there's no real tech units here from Hellraiser, so it kind of feels like... Again, I kind of... Ooh! Brings onto the Prism, so here we go. He gets both of the Immortals as well. I mean, getting the Prism is huge, because now you can't save anything with it. Okay, well, DnS still has a lot of Adepts, though, and he's shading them forwards. He's going to try and jump on the Stalkers while they don't have recall. Jumps onto the ones on this side, so he outnumbers them a little bit, and takes them down very quickly. DnS still feels as though he might just have about enough to break through this here. Again, Hellraiser just had like a couple more Archons, because Archons are actually really good against Adepts as well, because Adepts is, Archons against Adepts are very clumped up, right, and they take a lot of splash damages. The Stalkers will actually clean this up, the power of that +2 attack upgrade, eh? So, if Archons are able to get some shots off on a bunch of clumped up Adepts, obviously they generally tend to do very well from there, so, as you see that pylon going down, Hellraiser is just going to unblock his main. The reason for that pylon being so the Adepts obviously couldn't shade up into the main base. More Prism down the right-hand side here, as we do see 2 Adepts. 3 Adepts just going to come out the front and shade forwards, trying to harass. Hellraiser kind of just walked past those there. It's a bit of a tough situation for DnS, because upgrades are something that he's just never going to get really back into in this game. Warp Prism loads up these 4 Adepts on the side. They were hidden away from those Stalkers. I mean, for DnS to catch up on upgrades, he starts the Forge when +3 is 40 seconds in from Hellraiser, right? I mean, we're talking about +3 and +1 finishing up at the same time for these players, thereabouts, depending on where the Corona boosts go. And that's kind of crazy. As you see, the Adepts just going to come forwards, try and target fire down some of these probes. Gets 2, gets 3. I mean, this is actually pretty nice, and shades down to the natural as well, so actually planning quite a nice little bit of damage here. And that's the sort of stuff he needs to make up for the other kind of things he's lacking in this game, I guess. Going into Blink now as well. He's still building Immortals. I mean, Immortals are definitely a good decision with this many Stalkers on the map. There's that Warp Prism. Has to try and find a way out, but the Stalkers will get the kill. DnS just sticking around maybe a little bit too long. Gets 10 probe kills, but the worker count still ends up dead even. 39 apiece. So not much to be done there. Stalkers moving out. Still, I have no idea where to watch the Team League. Honestly, I can't help you, dude. I've got no idea either. It's on Africa TV. I don't know anything about Africa TV. I haven't watched any of it either because it's on Africa TV. So yeah, I'm sorry. I can't help you out at all. Maybe someone else in the chat can though. I think Ian Dram might have you. +3 versus nothing soon. I think also the fact that Charge is coming up. I feel like Charge is very good against this composition of DnS. Maybe if he added some more Adepts in here, then the Charge will, then the Adepts can kind of deal with the Zealots kind of nicely, but I don't know. I kind of just like the Charge a bit more anyways. Now just going to be seeing the couple of Adepts moving out to the left side. Stalker's moving around. Seeing what's going to happen as we see this Warp Prism coming all the way up the left side here now. A couple of Archons and Zealots getting ready to go as we do have these Adepts working their way on that Stalker. And now these Adepts just jumping up in towards the main base where he finds 5, 6, 7 probes and counting. Again, these Adept counterattacks have done so much for DnS. Gets one more probe there. Yes, the Stalker, the Adept will now go down. So you have Archons going to drop in the main, probably with a big warp in of Zealots, while also then pushing at the front. As DnS splits up his units to try and deal with that, sends his Stalkers into the main instantly. Archons go straight to the mineral line. And do we see the warp in? Stalkers have Blink. They will get it before the Zealots warp in. That's important. But here comes the big push at the front at the same time. The Stalkers blink forwards to get the Immortals down ASAP. Kind of a bit clumped up here, makes the Zealots for Hellraiser a little bit awkward. Good force fields, blinks over to get the other Immortal. I kind of like it. With the Archons in the front, they're going to deal with the Adepts so well as well. And then it's just Stalkers against Stalkers. And with +3 against +1, it is very, very much so going to be a one-sided affair in favor of Hellraiser here. As he has held on, he has dealt with that initial attack. And he might not end the game right here because he lost that Warp Prism, so he can't reinforce. There's still actually an Archon in the main base, so probes of DnS have not been mining. But in the long run, Hellraiser has gone up towards, again, 39 workers, and now he's put DnS down on 32. Hellraiser still has +3, which is going to be so important for the future fights. And he just completely reset the tech count of DnS. There's no Immortals up anymore. He's going to get this third base as well. And so, in parts of the game, he evens it out, but in other parts, he's doing good. Stalker's blinking forwards again as we're going to see these couple of sentries. He's going to be picking up some kills. Hellraiser grabs the win and is going to be taking this to a 1-1. Let's go in game. I think, let's just get this going. Sorry, this is like 10 seconds late on pressing ads, and sometimes that makes it overrun so much. I'm like, argh. Should be okay though, as we have to the top left-hand side our Red Protoss Cascades DnS. Losing out in that game number 2. As to the bottom right, our green Protoss player is Wolf's Lair Hellraiser. Again, coming up after this one, we're going to be having a DnS versus Bly matchup. And we also have after that Bly versus Marine Lord, Hellraiser versus Bly, Bly versus Ziggy is our current schedule of matches here today. After that, generally we do again 5 matches live and 5 from replays. There are other matches being played at the same time as this. It's just a case of just figuring out what exactly is going on. It's just we don't like to announce it and stuff like that either, because suspense. Otherwise, people start getting mad already. And again, we're not trying to lie to anyone. We're just trying to not rise up the chat, because chat gets really mad when you cast replays. Sometimes it's interesting, to say the least. Interesting is a good word for it, because I can't quite figure it out. Probe here from DnS is going to come around through the center. He is wandering all over the place, this little probe. Where are you off to, buddy? What are you up to? Huh? Huh? Okay. DnS threw a pylon down to this far left-hand side, and it looks like he will make use of it, so I wonder what for. I mean, Twilight Council and the Dark Shrine is like my go-to sort of hidden away sort of thing. He's just moving around with this probe, scouting for another probe, I guess. Maybe he is just using this as like a bit of a bait. Obviously, when you scout this as Hellraiser, you're like, huh, well, you have one less pylon than I do. I mean, he doesn't say than I do. He's like, he says, you've got one less pylon than you should at this stage of the game, right? You can see Hellraiser has 3, DnS has 2. So scouting this, Hellraiser is very likely to expect a proxy, and that's why he's splitting up his stalkers and looking everywhere. So it might just be a mind game, and it probably is just a mind game more than anything else here from DnS in the early stages of this third game. Another stalker pops out, and just coming out the front, we do see the hallucination starting to head down to the bottom side. Hallucinations going to fly past each other there, so zoom, fly by, and Stargate on the way up from Hellraiser. There's still no real tech then from DnS. He opted for that Nexus a bit earlier. Obviously, he has the gas to throw down tech. It's just a case of what's he going to throw down, and he might just wait to scout. He sees the Stargate, and he'll know what's up. You'll see the slightly later Nexus, so again, these hallucinations are just so good. You get all the information you need, and you can then respond however you see fit, and DnS chooses to respond with a double Stargate. This is so sick as well, because obviously Hellraiser scouted and saw nothing, right? So he's like, well, if it's Stargate, I've got time, you know, even if he goes Stargate, I've got time to build an Oracle and then go into Phoenix, right? So this is going to be DnS going to go straight into double Phoenix, and that's going to not only shut down the Oracle, it's going to create a very awkward situation where DnS will have a lot of potential moving across the map and being aggressive. Units just moving down a low ground here to the far left side. Pylon still around, given that vision. And there's the first Phoenix starting to come on up again. Just you can see why people go Stalker Sentry all of the time. As we do see these couple of Phoenix just continuing up at the moment, just over halfway done. And probes just being chrono boosted still on either side. The first Oracle from Hellraiser is kind of being very patient. He is going into a robo behind this, so it's just the Oracle. Kind of nice, though, to have Stargate, double Stargate against a Robo, because obviously, you know, Immortals aren't going to do anything about this. It's pretty, pretty funky. How does he want to build an economy and build from 2 Stargates? I mean, you definitely can, though, right? Because he's going to have the Phoenix to harass across the map, right? These Phoenix are very, very good. Like, he's going to be able to get so many probes with this because he'll make a good amount of Phoenix. They'll probably only go up to 6. And yeah, it's a bit of an investment. You've got to remember he'll also completely shut down this Oracle, so the early tech of Hellraiser is almost nullified, right? Hellraiser, his Stargate and the cost of an Oracle just did nothing here. So that kind of already covers the cost of the Stargates, into if we kind of go comparison mode. And then, you know, we've got these Phoenix to try and make up the rest of this. Now, army coming across the map, that is where you have to be a bit careful here as DnS, because if you go across and harass with the Phoenix, yes, you'll get damage, but obviously then the issue becomes that you've got this army to deal with. And you need to kind of keep your lifts around. He sees the Robo, but it's not building. I think that might have been what he was looking for. He wanted to see if the Robo was still building the Prism to see if he could catch it coming out and delay this attack. Not the case, so he just comes back home when he does have shield batteries ready. Hellraiser is going to try and break this. First sentry there needs to be careful. Force fields are going to be very important. Phoenix can come in. Lifting up the sentry with the Guardian Shield would be very important. And we'll get both of the sentries here. Warp Prism is able to stay back and warp in, but does have to stay back because of the Phoenix count. More and more Phoenix being made. Could make a cut. I mean, making Voiders against this. Voids are good against Stalkers, but this amount of Stalkers can also one-shot down those Voids very easily. Fuse Zealots here in the front lines. That's something which the Phoenix could lift up and deal with very quickly, but keeping them back. Doesn't want these Phoenix to just be targeted down instantly like that, basically. Comes forwards now, though, because he feels like he has enough Stalkers, so DnS is starting to be able to work his way through this. Just going to see a few more units warping in here from Hellraiser. A couple of them so damaged at the back as he micros them. I mean, it's a really tough situation. That said, though, the Phoenix are starting to be a little bit out of energy, so they're not going to be as useful as they were before. They set up another couple of Stalkers here, helping to just pick up some extra kills, take some damage out of the fight. And his unit's still pressing forwards. The Stalkers on Stalkers having a pretty good time. That Warp Prism is going to fall. That's the opportunity you're looking for with those Phoenix, to get rid of the Warp Prism, to stop further warp-ins. And DnS looks as though he might just about be able to take this one down against Hellraiser here, because at this point Hellraiser is going to lose his entire army, and there's still these Phoenix on the map, and he knows it. GG, DnS picks up his first